Visionaries, there's been a disturbance in the timeline. What you're about to see is critical. There's no way for me to explain it to you now, but I'm from 2,000 years in the future. And in my time, April 7th, 2014 is celebrated worldwide as the day the ship began. Pay attention to what you're about to see. Time, continues.
So we've gotten together to talk about what it means to be a visionary and what we might do about it. A visionary is the definition from Webster's is one who has a unique, creative, solution-oriented idea of what the future might be and could be. And I know that we're all visionaries. I know that we all here have a unique, creative, solution-oriented idea of what the future could be, or we wouldn't be a part of something like Could Exist, we wouldn't be here tonight. We have that vision. I added a little special twist though. This is my own special part. And is ready and willing to do something about it. As is often said, faith without works is dead. Faith without works is dead. A vision without action is dead. Boom. So the question we're all going to look at tonight is, we have a vision, I know we do. The question is, do we want to step into something really powerful, unique, creative, solution-oriented to do something about it? And I wanted to play a couple songs to start us off. This is one I recently wrote. Some of you may know it. And then we'll dissect these songs a little bit and talk about them. But I invite you to sing along with me or just listen. There is a heartbeat moving through the land, opening the minds of every woman and man for humankind to form a brand new conga line, compassion, resonant empathy. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no country. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will be as one. I'm moving through the land, opening the hearts of every woman and man. There is a rhythm, there is a sound. On every closed door it's beginning to pound and shatter to dust old beliefs and thought patterns. It must break and bust, for they're beginning to rust. Because we are, as a world, we're living by so many old thought patterns and beliefs. They're just ancient, right? And they're rusting, and we're clinging to them. And we do it in our own lives, and as a planet we do it, and we bring forward ideas and beliefs and thought systems that are rusting, that are in ancient past, that have nothing to do with the world today. And it's like trying to make a puzzle fit in that'll never fit. And it causes all kinds of confusion, pain, and suffering in the world. And we do this in our own lives as well. And if we look historically, every kingdom has fallen down. Kingdom has fallen down. That's gone.
Because of the work of the visionaries, the idea of an angry God was completely let go of in the year 2023. That's when peace really began to have a chance. All war ended in the year 2046. Time?
Every kingdom has fallen down, has crumbled. Why? Because they couldn't adjust their belief systems to match current reality. The Roman Empire, the Great Empire, how could it happen? Well, they didn't adjust their thinking, their belief systems to match the changes, and it fell apart. How about the Mayans? Same exact thing. They could not adjust. Gone, disappeared. Easter Island, boom, gone. Atlantis, boom, gone. And Atlantis is kind of mythical. Nobody knows exactly what happened, but a lot of the theories around Atlantis are that these were people whose technology surpassed their wisdom and they destroyed themselves. Sound familiar? Or a possibility? So every kingdom has crumbled for one reason. They had old beliefs and thought patterns that were beginning to rust, and they wouldn't change their paradigm to match the new coming reality. The difference between these things that happened in the past and today is they were isolated. But now we're one world. Economically, we're one economy. We're connected. And so if we fall now, if we crumble now, it's a bigger deal. It's a bigger deal. And we also have the ability to create massive transformation and change because of that connection. In the same way. But what needs to happen is these old thought patterns we need to let go. And allow a new paradigm, a new consciousness, a new way of thinking that meets reality as it is now. And allow our consciousness to shift and change. I consider Imagine to be the single greatest visionary song ever written. It's just perfect. It allows us to see it, and it gives us the steps we need to take to create it. The change that needs to happen to create what? The kingdom of heaven on earth. That's what it describes. And all the broken belief systems along the way that are not going to work forever. They're just not. And he's pointing them out. And he's showing them. And so I think that is the greatest visionary song ever. So I played those for those reasons, but I also played them for you because they're two good examples of music videos that we could create that would be awesome and go viral. Seriously.
They did. And not only that, they took most of the short stories Barry wrote and created uplifting, viral videos. And eventually made major motion pictures that would change the industry. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Time continues.
Now, I have sung Imagine probably close to 500 times in my life. Seriously. I sang it at LEC for years, I sang it in Celebration Church and Coexist Celebration, and I sing it by myself regularly. And I sang it on the road when I've been on the road. And this my Compassion song, I've actually been singing that on the road lately, my last tour. And I'm coming clean with you tonight. I'm going to tell you something that I've never spoken before. Every time I played Imagine, every time, and another song I'm going to play later, which I also think is one of the greatest visionary songs ever written. And my own songs and different songs, I always felt like, yeah, so what? I'm not kidding. I always felt like, what are you doing about it? And we can go to one of my services and feel great and imagine all the people. Okay, we had vision and it felt good, right? But what are we doing about it? Now I know that singing it and doing that is something. I'm not saying it's not anything, but it's more of a vision than doing something. And I'm kind of tired of not doing something. I don't want to sing these songs anymore and not be really doing something about it. That's how I feel about it, because I feel hypocritical a little bit. Writing these songs and singing them and not really digging in and doing something about it. Because what happened in Atlantis was, I call it a reset button. When humanity was not able to catch up with its own technology, and you know what happens is you hit the reset button, it dissolves, and then we have to start over. And that's fine. We can do that. We can do it forever. Or we can graduate. Right? We can graduate from that. History shows us it happens every time. We can graduate from it. We don't have to suffer anymore. But we have to change our thoughts, our belief systems, our ideas. They need to be upgraded. We need an upgrade. So I want to do an exercise right now that I've done with a lot of people. I've done a lot of workshops around the world. And in one of my workshops, I do this a lot, called the seed of the soul. And this is just kind of the seed here. I think of it as a seed. And it's the seed of our soul, and it's what we want to plant in the world. And so I'm just going to ask you right now to tell me what you hold most dear and close to your heart. Your highest values, your highest morals. What's the most important things to you in your life, your personal life, in the world, everything and anything goes. Ready, let's fill the seed, go.
Honesty. Peace.
Love, peace, integrity.
Kindness.
Did you listen? Did I miss anything? So you got love, peace, honesty, integrity, kindness, compassion, forgiveness, brilliance, clarity, authenticity, purpose, honesty.
You're putting up one.
Which one?
Action.
Action. Up and out.
But you get money.
That's
Peter.
action. So this is, I mean, I always say when I do this with people, I really want people to like not let it just float by, to really pay attention to the power of what we just did. We literally just captured what's most important to us. Boom. And we put it on a wall. Look, there it is. This is what means the most to us in life. In a little seed, and if we could plant a seed, this is what we would plant. We would put it in the ground, we would put it in our hearts, and we would let it grow. So it's a big deal. But the question is this, and this is where the discord begins to happen. What we must ask ourselves is, when we look at our own highest values and what we cherish the most in the world, and we really think about what we're doing with our time, money, and energy, how often are we really supporting this? And there's a gap, and there's some discord there. And closing that gap, and moving closer to putting our time, money, and energy toward which we really want to create in the world is the spiritual practice. That's the word. That's the spiritual practice. And so as visionaries, one of the things we're going to do is close that gap. Close that gap in our lives. Close that gap.
Everyone in this room is remembered and revered, the founding members of a new consciousness. Starting with the visionaries, the people of the planet began to close the gap in between their values and their actions. Ever so slowly, it began to bring about the beginning of the tipping point. Time continues.
Forward. And this whole idea of creating a group called the Visionaries is an idea. It's not something that's happening yet. This is the first time we've gathered. This is the first time I've run this by anybody. And it's kind of going to be a group decision. It's going to be like, hey, yeah, we want to do this. We want to get on board. So I'm just going to give you, I'm a visionary, and so what I'm doing about it is putting together a group and asking them if they want to do it with me. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what I'm doing. So this is a powerful thing, and it really points to what we want to create. And our own internal work is how much are we really putting our energy and our life force toward creating that, and how often are we distracted in this world, incredible distractions, away from what means the most to us in our lives. And getting that back on track is a huge thing. So I want to tell you a story. You may have heard it before, but you've never heard this version of it, I guarantee it. Unless somebody was in my mind reading it. So there was a guy, So there was a guy at Cannon Beach, and this was 1973. He's on Cannon Beach near Haystack Rock, but next to him is a pile of starfish that's so huge, it makes Haystack Rock look like a grain of sand. There's a pile of starfish so gigantic, it makes Mount Everest look like a thimble. It's so huge. How huge is it? How huge is it? It's so huge, it makes the Great Wall of China look like a quantum particle. That's how huge it is. So it's a gigantic pile of starfish because there was an angry storm in the ocean and it kicked all the starfish out of the ocean. Now the ocean loves the starfish, and the starfish yearn to come home to the ocean, to that which gives birth and life. But they're separated now from this angry storm. And there's a man standing there in this giant pile, and the pile is so high it goes up like into space. That's so huge. And there's a guy standing there, one at a time, taken from this pile, throwing starfish back in the ocean. Meanwhile, in 1973, another guy is on the beach, and he sees him, and he walks up to him, and he's looking at this massive pile. And he says to the guy, really? You think you can make a difference? You think you're going to make a difference? Come on. And the guy reaches over, grabs a starfish, throws it in the ocean, and he says to the man, "You made a difference to that one. You made a difference to that one." Well, the guy who witnessed this continues walking, and he's just confused, like, what a whack job. This guy's crazy. And it's like stuck in him, like his whole life. This guy must be completely, like, maybe he was beat up by his brothers, maybe he wasn't breastfed, they don't know, what's wrong with this guy? It's clearly crazy. But it stuck with him, and it made a difference, and it stayed in his mind, like, that guy. 41 years later, yesterday, the guy comes back to the beach, and he sees the other guy standing there throwing starfish in the ocean. Why? Because he's sponsored now, and people love the starfish crazy man. They bring him food, and He's, taken care of because he's kind of the starfish guru. So for 40 years, he's never left the beach. He's just throwing the starfish. The other guy walks, he's there again. He sees him, he walks up to him, he goes, man, are you crazy? You really think you're going to make a difference? The guy reaches in, grabs a starfish, throws it in the ocean, and he says, well, it made a difference to that one. And the other guy says, do you remember me? He says, no, I don't remember you. He says, I was here 41 years ago and you were throwing starfish. He says, look, I've met a lot of people in 41 years, and they all think I'm crazy. He goes, well, yeah, I remember you, 41. And I gotta tell you, you made a big difference in my life. It stuck with me. There's something about your heart and your commitment and your passion. It changed my life. And so I come back to help. I want to help. And the guy says, okay, dig in, grab a starfish, let's go, man. And the guy goes, no, that's not how I want to do this. And this other guy reaches in his pocket and he pulls out the net. The net. And it's a magic net. Now, this other guy never heard of it because he'd never been off the ocean since 1973. But he pulls out this magic net. And it's so magical and powerful that with one swoop you can reach millions of starfish at one time. And they scoop it under the entire pile, and with one heave-ho, all the starfish are thrown back into the ocean. And the man who's been throwing starfish for 41 years sits down on a stone and he starts to weep because he can feel the life. He's connected to those starfish, and he knows that what he does to something else, he does to himself. He knows he's connected, and he feels the life coming back to those starfish, and he's overjoyed. And he says, I knew if I stayed here, and if I committed, and if I gave it all my heart, I had faith that something would happen. There would be a miracle. And he looked at this other man and he said, you're that miracle. And the other man said, well, you were the miracle in my life. You affected me. You inspired me. And so then the starfish man said, well, who are you? And the guy says, and as he asks him this question, the other guy starts to literally disappear. He starts to be translucent. And he's fading away. But as he's fading away, he says, I'm sure you don't know about me because you've been on this beach your whole life. But my name is Steve Jobs. And my job is done here. But you, because of your heart and your commitment and your passion, you can make a difference in the world. Take this net, cast it out upon the world, for there are millions of people with starfish consciousness stuck on the beaches, yearning to go back to the creative source, yearning to go back to the ocean of creation, of life, of truth, of peace, of joy, but they don't know how. So if you can master this net, you can capture all of them and throw them back into the source, into that creativity, into that excellence. And then he disappears, and the man leaves the beach and he goes and gets himself a computer. He gets an apple. And he masters this net, and he begins to cast it out upon the world. And he does so with such commitment, just like he did those starfish, but now he's capturing thousands at a time. And that becomes millions as they go viral. And he does it so much until there comes a point where it is a norm accepted on the planet that no one has a monopoly on the truth. That everyone understands that their culture, their background, their religion, their philosophy is just a part of the puzzle. And that if we combine our consciousness, we can find the truth, and the truth is forever changing, and we can bring it together and come together. He does it so much that love and peace and acceptance becomes the norm. And that suddenly, one day, there is a tipping point. The 100th monkey is found, and the world lives as one. The end.
There's a small circle of friends, about 6 or 8 of them, and they think you are this visionary because they've been watching your videos and they've been sharing them on Facebook. And these are kids that my son knew who you were, but just out of nowhere, you've come out of the sky to them. And they had no idea who you were, what you were about. And just between their circle of friends, they pass it on to hundreds of their friends. And you talk about, it could happen. It could happen. I've seen it happen.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that's just the beginning. So he knows me. So So we are that guy, that's the point, right? We can be that guy. I've spent $20,000 over the last 3 years learning how to use the net. Everywhere I go with Hay House Publishing, the net, use the net, use the net. When I work with my publisher, with my manager, now my producers called Peaceful Media, who work on my website, the net. What happened for me is, what he just described, I created a couple of videos and they went so viral, it blew my mind. And I didn't even know how it happened. And I actually measurably saw the effect that it had on people. That's why we're here today. This is just in the last few months, I was absolutely floored by it. I couldn't believe what happened. And that was the first time I thought, because all these people talking about using that and the power of the net it's always been about promoting, okay? So it's about promoting your product, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. My product is about changing the world. But the shift I had in my mind when these videos started to go viral of mine, I suddenly went, what would happen if we had the full focused purpose of changing consciousness? What would happen if we started really focusing and creating and doing what I've learned and what I know to work, what I know makes things viral, but I've spent the money to learn with one idea, and that's changing consciousness. That's creating a shift. What would happen? This started to blow my mind. This is how this idea came. I saw measurable effects of videos that I created, measurable, that changed minds and thinking. And I was like, wow, this is unbelievable. And I wasn't really even trying. And I thought, Barry, what would happen if you actually tried? And used everything you've learned for one purpose, and that's to shift minds and consciousness on the planet. And then I got really, really excited about what could happen. So, does everybody understand the tipping point? The tipping point is a proven sociological phenomenon. And it happens. And it's what happens when a video goes viral. There's just this point where I think of it as gets heavy. It gets heavy, and enough people see it, there's just a point where, boom, it just hits and explodes. Suddenly, bang, it just happens almost overnight. The 100th Monkey story is an example of the tipping point. Now, the 100th Monkey story, I'll explain what it is. This is something I don't know that it happened for sure. A lot of people say it actually happened. I don't know that for sure, but people say it happened. But it's a great story of the tipping point, how this happens. So the 100th Monkey, it was an island, I think it was like Southeast Asia, but I'm not really sure. And there was a bunch of little islands a couple miles from each other. And on one island, they all had monkeys, the same kind of monkeys. And on one island, there was a monkey who was pretty darn smart. And they all ate potatoes. These monkeys ate potatoes, something like a potato. And they ate them with grit pieces of sand on it. Now, we've all had a sandwich with sand on it, haven't we? It's not a pleasant thing. In fact, historically, if you go back and look at human teeth, they were always ground down because we weren't smart enough to know that when we were mortar and pistoling the inside of rocks, we were actually getting at your teeth. But this monkey was smarter than we were and took this potato and put it in the river and wiped off the sand and started eating potatoes with no sand, and suddenly, better teeth. Well, the other monkeys saw this monkey and went, that's a good idea. And so they started doing it, and then they told one friend, and they told one friend, and they told one friend, until the 100th monkey. So there was a 100th monkey who washed the potato. And in that moment, that was the tipping point. In that moment, when that one monkey did it, all the monkeys on the island at one time began washing their potatoes. But where the story becomes truly amazing is it wasn't just that island. All the monkeys on every island began washing their potatoes. And they were miles apart. So what the point is there's a 100th monkey in humanity. And when consciousness is changed and enough people change their consciousness, that information explodes. And it travels even without understanding why. And there is scientific evidence that shows this 100th monkey thing could really have happened. There's been quantum physical studies that have shown, for example, they put human beings in ironclad rooms. They did everything to make sure there would be no radio signals or anything coming out. They did all this scientifically, and they had these people think on one idea, and then they put people in another room, no radio waves getting through it, who just sat and they were receptors of the idea, and they got the idea. So the point is that this is a real phenomenon. It's a real phenomenon. It's a real phenomenon.
In my time, with help of the visionaries, what you would call a cell phone is considered ancient history. We don't need one. Mental telepathy is as common as shingongs. Oh wait, these haven't been invented yet. Time, continue.
And my mission is we find the 100th monkey. We find that. In that for humanity, that may be 10 million or 20 million, whatever that number there's a 100th monkey in humanity, and when that person has that shift, it'll spread like wildfire, where it becomes commonplace to understand no one has a monopoly on the truth, that through dialogue, through conscious awareness, we can find truth, move toward it, and forgiveness, love, and acceptance is the greatest gift we can give to ourselves, to become that. And that's kind of the mission of creating. That's part of the mission of creating the visionaries. So how will we do this? Well, here's how I want to do this. There was a sociological experiment where I believe approximately 75 people who were on their deathbed were asked the question, if you could live over again, what would you do differently? There were 3 top things that these people said on their deathbed. The first thing they said was they would regularly go back and reflect upon their life. They would do this as a regular part of their life. They would take inventory on how things are going. How's it going for me? What am I doing? How can I shift? How can I alter, change my trajectory to be a better person, to learn from my past? If they could live over again, they would take the time to reflect. Number one thing we're going to do as a visionary group, we're going to meet once a month and we're going to reflect. We're going to reflect. Why? Because they have something to teach us. The number 2 thing they said, and it works with number 1, and they said, and then I would take action and risk more. Number 1, they would reflect more. Number 2, they would take action and risk more. So as visionaries, we will come together once a month, reflect, and then we will create a plan. We will say what I wish to do, create to change my life. Because as visionaries, the first thing we're going to do is wash our own potatoes. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to do our own work. We're going to be committed to spiritual practice at a higher level than we ever have before, because we're going to help each other live that way. And we're going to support us in living what I call the exceptional life. An exceptional life. The third thing that they said they would do is leave behind a legacy. They would do something that makes a difference in the world. So as members of the visionary group, this is the third thing we're going to do. We're going to help each other live an exceptional life, an extraordinary life in our own lives. And on the way, we're going to leave behind a legacy. We're going to create something that makes a difference in the world. We're not going to sing songs anymore and say that was just a fun experience. We're going to make a difference. And what we're creating, or what I wish to create, my idea, that I'm running by you today to see if you want to do this, is based on, again, how all great things have been done. And we can go back as far as we want to go. I just wrote Jesus, for example. Jesus didn't do anything, nothing, until he first created his mastermind group called the 12 Disciples. And we also know historically that there were more than 12. There were 12 men that they counted. Back then they didn't really count women. There were women involved. And more people. And there were lots of people who supported Jesus. But he didn't do anything until he first had his support group, his mastermind group who believed in the vision. Thomas Edison, same thing. Thomas Edison had the most patents of anybody who ever lived. But not without creating a group of people first who he met with, created with, brainstormed with, and created the ideas with him. Henry Ford had a mastermind group of powerful people who got together, who had visions, who did something, who created things. W. Clement Stone, can go on and on and on. These powerful people had mastermind groups. They had people who got together and decided they were going to do something powerful with their lives and make a difference in the world. So it's a time-honored tradition, and it's how it works. Because wherever 2 or more are gathered, the I am is there. And what does that mean? The I am is always there, of course, but when we come together, we remind each other, we help each other, we inspire each other, we bring out that higher consciousness, we awaken it in each other when we have a vision that we share. So this is kind of the 3-step process that we will do as visionaries when we meet. Another way of looking at it, or another idea, another graphic that I wanted to show you, is what I call the 3 zones of life. And this is all, again, this is all scientific. This is physiology and psychology. It's just fact. I've created an interesting way of explaining it, but this is the way things are. This middle thing, I call this middle section atrophy. Atrophy. It's just a fact that if we don't use our body, our muscles atrophy. They start to die. If we don't use our mind, our brain, the synapses don't fire anymore. We become less and less intelligent. It's just a fact. So our bodies and minds and our soul, and connecting our soul and our spirit to the same thing. If we're not active, if we're not playing in the game of expansion, we atrophy. And there's a temptation in culture today to do this. Why? Well, because we all live like kings and queens. We're the most abundant human beings who've ever lived on the history of the planet. We have so much. And we have this television that we can zone out all day. which is just as good as it is bad. You know what I'm saying? And what we want to do is put a lot of good stuff on it. In my book, I have a whole chapter on what I call technology, and I rewrote the Lord's Prayer because we needed to update it. Remember I was saying we got to get rid of old beliefs and bring in new ones. So I rewrote the Lord's Prayer. It's a technologically updated version of the Lord's Prayer, and it goes like this. Our Father, who art in the cloud, hallowed be thy password. Thy updates come, thy downloads be done on Google Earth as it is on YouTube. And lead us not into chat sites, but deliver us from email. For thine is the keyboard and the PowerPoint and the browser forever and ever. Sin. So that's my updated Lord's Prayer. So there's a lot of temptation to atrophy, to zone out in the world.
What's wrong with this thing? Come on, Jake.
And that's not going to get us, as visionaries, that's not going to get us where we want to go. This next level is thriving. Again, this is science, this is physiology, this is thriving, this is living extraordinary, this is being in the zone, and it's always stretching. So this is seen in our bodies and our minds. It's just a fact that when we move our body, when we use our muscles, when we walking with a little pace is probably the best exercise you can do for your body. In our minds, if we're studying something, if we're looking at something, learning a language, or learning an instrument, or studying something, or coming together as the visionaries and talking about visioning, this makes synapses fire in our brain and it keeps us mentally strong. And by using our body, it's just a fact, it keeps us physically strong. Did you know that you can actually grow younger, grow younger, grow younger, grow younger?
It's true. We followed the advice of the visionaries and began living in the thriving zone and began to actually grow younger. I know you're going to find this hard to believe, but my biological age is 17, although I'm actually 58. Time to 10.
This is a fact. Okay, they call it your literal age and your physical mental age. And I've done this test. Okay, so you can get a test done. So they have for your age, and then they have you do all these tests and see if you are your age, younger or older. I did my test, and in my test, I'm actually 4 years younger than I am. So I can actually be, so right now I'm 43, I'm 47, but I'm actually like 43 in my physical mental age. Now, if I continue to really work in here, I can take the test next year and be 41. This is true. It's true. And as visionaries, we're going to support each other to grow younger. Okay? We're going to support each other to grow younger, to stay in the thriving zone. And in here, we don't want to be too close to this because you fall in it too easy. What we want to do in the thriving zone is be floating around out here, really thriving, stretching, living, growing, thriving, stretching. And then what happens is that actually moves out. This is the breaking zone. Again, this is just science speaking, physiology. What happens if we... So I started running. I had ankle surgery a couple years ago. It was a bummer because I couldn't do much physically for a while. It made it hard for me to do what I like to do, play basketball, run, all these kind of things. Just maybe 8 or 9 months ago, I started playing basketball again and I started running. And it feels great. But at first, I was so excited I ran every day. Really. I ran hard every day until my ankle started to hurt. So I went into the breaking zone. I went too far. I pushed myself too hard. This is also what we do when we work too hard, we get stressed out, we have a nervous breakdown. And that's another temptation in our society, oftentimes to break down. We're not going to let us do that in this group. We are going to support us in staying in the thriving zone. And what happens is, so now I run about 4 days a week instead of every day, between 4 and 5 days a week. And I also studied how to run without hurting your joints. I actually looked at it, the right form, all these things. And what's wonderful though, like I said earlier, when you stay in the thriving zone, this actually begins to expand. And what used to be breaking becomes thriving. And we stretch and we grow. We stretch and we grow, stretch and we grow.
Barry did grow younger, but he took it to the breaking point. On his 87th birthday, he actually turned into a baby. Time continue.
So we will support each other in this group to stay thriving in every area of our life through this 3-step plan. Supporting each other And the action that you wish to take and the shifts you want to make from your reflection is yours. It's whatever is up for you at the time. Whatever you want to create. And then we support you in that, and we come back together and we share we share the wonderful experiences we're having as we go about our lives. And then together we brainstorm on ideas in this world. Okay? So now we're going to take a look at that. So the outreach part of the Visionaries, which is this, it's our outreach, is twofold. It's local and it's global. So local revolves around coexist, celebration, and being visionaries for that, being foundational for that. I'll even come to you or take information from this group, or even ask you or see what's going on in here to be inspired about what we want to do here, what we want to talk about, what I would like to cover in the local movement. And then globally, of course, it's creating viral videos that change consciousness. And we will have fun with that. You probably don't know this about me. I was a film major in college. So what did I do? I studied directing in movies and how to make movies. Then I had my own production company for 5 years. And I produced videos, movies, and music. The kind of things that I can produce would cost $10, $15, $20,000. So I bring a lot to the table, and I can create things and together brainstorm what we might do and how we might create that. And then, when I need people, you'll be the first ones to call. Do you want to be in one of the videos? Help me put this together, that kind of thing. And I know, for example, Tamara and Nancy, your son, has excellence in this, and I've talked to him about it. There's other among you who have excellence in this that can help me do this. But we'll brainstorm and we'll have fun and we'll reveal. The first thing we'll do is look at the first production together and celebrate that, and then we'll hit boom and watch it go. That kind of thing. And we can watch and see the effect it has, as I have with my own videos that I was just shocked to see what happened to them. Become viral promotions for coexist celebrations. We're always trying to find creative ways to promote the local celebrations. I can't think of a better way to do it. So here we are doing this incredible service, this outreach to humanity, to shift consciousness, to raise awareness, to create discussions of truth, to seek deeper truth, while at the same time we'll be directing people to come to a place where they can further this work locally. So everybody who lives locally will be more and more aware of coexist celebration. I can't think of a better way to be growing and promoting what we're doing locally. Each video will say, brought to you by. So have you all seen a commercial that says something like, brought to you by the Church of the Latter-day Saints? Or Scientology? Wouldn't it be nice to have things going on all over the world that are just lifting, raising consciousness, brought to you by, and we're going to think of our name. So we're the visionaries, but we're going to come up with a production name. So brought to you by the whatever, to learn more, press here. So they press here, they learn about who we are, and then they can join us. So imagine a globe where slowly there's little lights popping on as people join the visionaries all over the world. This visionary thing keeps getting bigger and bigger. How we'll get this off the ground here is, of course, it always comes back to Einstein's theory of relativity. E equals mc squared. How we get this off the ground is energy equals money times contribution squared. That's how we're going to do it. So we're going to talk about what we're willing to do to get this off the ground tonight in a minute. But before that, I want to share with you some more really exciting stuff. It's all serendipitous because this guy, major, is digital marketing in college. So everything we're talking about is this guy's major. And so what have we been doing every night? Staying up till 1 in the morning talking about how we're going to make this a reality. It's been quite amazing thing to do. It's been like our own little mastermind experience, and now you've joined. So he and I have been our week, but now we're inviting you to see if you want to step in with us. So he has some really exciting stuff to tell you about, and I'm just going to turn it over. Everybody, give it up for Lyndon Richardson.
Lyndon became a world leader as a visionary wisdom teacher and became the first president of the United Planet of Earth. Time continues.
Hey.
Hi.
What do you
I-
think?
Huh?
What do you think?
Well,
He's gonna tell you.
yeah, I want to start just by saying that I feel awesome. I feel very, very happy and so fortunate. This group, Coexist Celebration, has played the most significant role in my life, in my personal development as an adult, external to my immediate family. And I truly mean that. I would go as far as saying that this community has been like a family to me. When I first became a part of the community, compared to who I am now, I have grown so much, and it is because of the people who really model what it's like to live a conscious life in this world. My peers and my friends, they haven't had that sort of influence on me. All the other organizations I've ever been involved with and my coworkers, they've influenced me, but not like this. Even my professors and all of my classmates combined, they don't even compare to the influence, the positive influence that I've received from this community. And several years ago, when it was Celebration Church at the time, it dissolved, I was kind of thinking to myself back then, like, that's alright. I mean, of course I'm sad, and I'm going to miss all you guys. That's what I was thinking all the time. Miss you, Craig.
Really?
Totally. That's my twin.
Yeah, maybe.
But at the same time, I was thinking, like, it's not that big a deal. I didn't realize at that moment how much that community really meant to me and what it meant to be surrounded by a group of like-minded people like all of you. And so I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I've heard the lessons, maybe 100 times now. And I've really started to embody these lessons. Heck, I even taught a few of the lessons, so like, no big deal. But as I went out into the world, little by little, I began to forget. And I stopped practicing, and I fell back into this atrophy zone. And then I recognized that I'm in atrophy for whatever area of my life it is, like for studying language. And so then I would totally immerse myself in trying to study language, and I would go so hard, and then I'd break. And then I'm exhausted, I can't study language anymore. And the same thing with my spiritual practice, and the same thing with my health and fitness. I would do this cycle over and over again. And it was really difficult. And it really took me about 2 years to really get to a place where I kind of developed my own spiritual practices and everything, and where I was more and more living in this thriving zone. I finally reached a place where I felt like I no longer needed Coexist Celebration to feel that fulfillment. I was giving that to myself. And then shortly after that happens, bam! Coexist Celebration is back again. So now it's like I've got this, I'm nourishing my personal self, and then I'm getting a little bit of Coexist Celebration here on the side, a little taste. So going back to when we were back out at the forestry site, and then later out in Wilsonville, I love the community. I've always felt so passionate about the people in this community. But I also recognized that there was a couple problems with it. 2 things really stuck out to me. And I always think about this and question, like, we're such great people here, and we get the message. Why don't we have outreach? I mean, we have some. During the holidays, we had like the canned food drive or the toy drive, and I'm not trying to diminish that stuff. That stuff was really important. And then occasionally we'd have some sort of outing, but it wasn't really a part of our identity. We didn't have an outreach identity. I always wanted to change that, but I didn't really know how. And then the other problem that I recognized, or at least at the time I recognized it as a potential problem, was how heavily we relied on one individual, Barry. And this doesn't take anything away from Barry. He started this organization, and he's obviously brilliant and creative, but I knew, long before it even happened, that if he was not able to give his 60 or 70 or whatever hours he was giving to the community on a regular basis, weekly, that the community would probably dissolve. And that it would cease to exist. And, well, I was right. So, now, to me, this is sort of like Coexist Celebration 2.0. Being able to connect with people, it's the social media, it's the YouTube, it's everything like that. So this reemergence of Coexist Celebration is Coexist Celebration 2.0 to me. It has a greater vision than it's ever had before, and it has more potential to be everything that we always wanted it to be. It can have the outreach. We can build a super strong community that doesn't have to rely on Barry, so that if he needs to go do another book tour or whatever, we're going to keep marching on and make sure that this community continues to thrive. Not only do I want to see it thrive, but I'm willing to do my part. So I'm currently a student, and my income on a monthly basis is negative, and my debt is, well, that's positive. That's the way it is. Even though that's true, and I don't have a positive income stream at the time, and I'm living off of student loans, I'm going to stretch myself and give financially to this organization and to this movement because I want it to thrive. And even though I'm going to school full time, I'm putting a ton of effort in. Currently, I'm starting a new business. I'm working out 5 days a week to get in the best shape of my life. I'm dating. I'm doing all these other things, fulfilling all these other social obligations that take my time. Even though all that's taking place, I'm committing myself to investing more time and energy into this movement because I want it to thrive. Because I know that when we thrive, I'm going to thrive too. Like I said just a minute ago, I'm at a point now where I'm doing pretty good. I'm pretty much staying in the starting zone. Maybe not be all the way to the edge all the time, but I'm like in here somewhere. So I know that I don't need this anymore. But I want it. I want it more than ever. Because I will never be as strong on my own as I am when I'm surrounded by a bunch of people who are like-minded and who can lift me and raise me to a level that I'm unable to attain on my own. And so I say all that because I hope that something that I'm saying and something that Barry is saying resonates with you. And if it doesn't, that's totally okay too. But if it is resonating with you, then I encourage you to push yourself into this thriving zone and to stretch yourself with your financial commitment and with your time and your energy that you are investing into this movement. And together, we will co-create amazing things that not only empower our personal lives, but also go out and affect the world in a real and positive way as well. So that's my little testimonial. And if anybody else is feeling at this moment that they would like to share something that has been meaningful to them about their experience with Coexist Celebration, or that they could potentially see being meaningful with this group of visionaries, then we invite you to share now. If anybody feels inspired to do so, then you can just stand up. Oh, what's there?
I'll stand up.
Okay.
Well, I feel like when I come to Celebration, or Coexist now, I guess, it's like coming to therapy for me. So that's what I get out of it. I can come into a session, I call it a session, a therapy session for myself, feeling really crappy or feeling really hurt or whatever I'm feeling really happy maybe even. But I feel even better when I leave. And my son's father died this last November, and he started coming. And he's 17, so he's very close to your son's age. And it is really resonating with him too. And I think that this church is great because you can be of any age and you resonate with people. Your word resonates with young people, with old people, with middle-aged. And I want to help because of that. I mean, because what you've given to me. And given to our relationship and our relationship with our son. Trying to, get all that together. And it's just been so great. I mean, he'd be here tonight. He has a slave for Spanish test, so. He's here. Nice here.
He's a great kid.
So, and he's so excited because being in youth and, of course he knows way more about computers than I would ever know or technology, and they make videos. And he listened to, the one that resonated with him was your little bebop rap that you did.
Cool.
He's like, they should put that one on. And I would go, completely viral. And
Yep.
you can do some
I
fun
know.
things with
That's
the
one of,
kids
that's
and
one
stuff.
of
Yeah.
I want to do.
And so I feel like when I come and I get so much out of it, it's always been a question in my heart too, is that this room should be full of people, because I can't imagine that they wouldn't get the same thing out of it that I do, and that we all do.
With the help of the visionaries, Nancy was able to equally distribute food across the planet, making starvation a thing of the past. Todd, continue.
Thank you. Yeah.
Let's see. I think that what is exciting about this to me is that I know how much I need family. I need a tribe. Because we're raising the vibration for each of us, this will help the world resonate to a higher vibration. We're becoming frequentially, if that's a word, frequentially increased.
It is now.
So that's a word, okay.
Lisa coined the phrase frequentially and created processes that would raise the frequency of world leaders that eventually led to world peace. Time, continue.
Whenever people can get together and feel that they can trust each other, that there's a sense of communion and circling, and that's what's going to help us grow and move on. It's called transformational work. And so that's what I see us. My vision here is that we are a transformational group.
I've known Barry since LAC, back in the day when we were music director, and part of that community, large community, but you moved on. You made a conscious choice to take a risk and to move on in your life, to do something to go deeper in your world. I always admired you for that. I thought, my God, he's got an amazing gig, he's happy, he's perfect doing what he's doing, and yet he was willing to take that risk. I didn't get a chance to really be involved with you until you started your church, and when I joined, it was like the first time I went, to me, it was like transformational. That first experience was completely eye-opening to me. I couldn't tell you what I learned, other than my feeling was feeling like I'm open, I'm happy, and I want more. And I felt like this was the most exciting community and conscious raising experience I'd ever had. Shortly thereafter, my husband joined me. He was resistant to a lot of organizations, but this one, he came forth and he just said, oh, wow, this is what makes us happy. And we have stayed tuned into this conscious raising in our life. And it transformed us in that we found exactly what we wanted. We found how to think in a way that felt like we were growing spiritually and emotionally and maturing and loving more and expressing that and receiving it more. Talk about vibration raising. That's exactly what happened in our life. And everything you've been teaching since then has come from your own life experiences. Your evolution has created more evolution in our lives. And I've enjoyed knowing that this was the right place and the perfect place for us to be. At the same time, when it transitioned and moved on, I felt like, okay, well, what's next, you know? I feel like everything is perfect. All the things you've taught us has taught us how to believe that we are living in the moment and that it is all perfect and all good in its own right. But there is that moment where you feel stagnant. You can do the little routines on your own and you can create your own little personal happy world. But there is that moment where you feel like, I want more, I want to do more, or I want to connect more. And yet it takes a lot of energy to do that. And one thing I know about Barry is he's got energy. So much. It is unfathomable what you have strived for in your life and what you have been able to achieve through your obstacles. And yeah, some might say you've lived a charmed life, but ultimately I feel like you have lived a very challenging life. You've been given opportunities and you've received things, but you've asked for things and you've risked things. And that's exactly what he's asking us to do, is risk something. You know, take us out of our comfort zone a little bit and ask us, or individually, me. And I also believe in everything that you have stepped into to try to help teach. You may not have all the answers. You have flaws, just like every one of us. And I love knowing that we are being vulnerable together and that we can learn from that vulnerability. the fact that we could be a part of something that Barry has had visions about for many, many years, and I've seen him manifest miracle after miracle in your life. And I've been in awe of that, and I keep thinking, what is next on your agenda? What is next going to be? And I realize that you have more and more, you've taken all your talents and you've put them into this place of knowing and how to reach out into the global network now. And I think this is the time. This is a time where however this community grows, or however many people we can reach in other communities that are starting to do the same thing, I think it's a good thing. And I think it may have some risks in that we are taking up our time and energy, but I feel like I would rather support you in that, knowing that it's going to create a greater good in all of our lives. And I see you have always had that kind of belief that is, even though you could sit back and go, oh, I can do all these things and I can be successful, but you want more, and that more is helping others recognize the good in their life and how to be empowered themselves to do exactly what you might be doing, to carry that on. And I believe in you wholeheartedly. So I hope and I pray that we can manifest this in a much bigger way, just like your vision says.
Susan reinvented landscaping. Her designs, which are not only earth-friendly, but lead to measurable peace of mind, are still the benchmark in my time today. Time continues.
Awesome.
Bless you, Susan.
Well, I know why I'm here tonight, and I think it's the reason why you're all here. And that is because I want to help change the world. And I want to change the world in profound ways, and I think when we go back to this graphic, this is a really good illustration, Barry, of how we can accomplish this goal. And I think the key is right here, and I know that even though Linda and I have 2 freshmen in college, we are going to sacrifice other areas of our life to make sure that we're able to contribute this energy and the money times contribution squared. Because that is what is going to give us the energy over in this area to reach. I want to see 1 million lights out there, 1 million light bulbs blinking on all over the world. I want to see the Google Earth, the coexist Google Earth, just light up across the world.
Led by John's creative and compassionate heart, those lights went on. Time continues.
Thank you.
I spent about 25 years managing hardware stores, which was a lot of fun. But one store in particular, just before I retired from hardware, a store in Northwest Portland, Uptown Hardware, I don't think anybody remembers that place. But anyway, it was on 23rd and Burnside. It took them, when I first started there, they were in business for 45 years. It took them 45 years to reach their first $1 million. And over the next 5 years, I turned them into a $2 million store. And it wasn't me, I don't want to take the credit for it. It was what I did to involve all 10 employees and give them each a department, make them their own visionary. And that's what I view this as. You know, everybody here has something positive to bring to this group. Barry, of course, he's got a lot of experience, but everybody here has got experiences that can add to this group, and we can take that to the 100 Monkey.
Richard helped create the tipping point within the visionary movement by helping people tap into their inner potential. Time continues.
I believe it.
She said was so radical, right?
Yes.
Having radical thoughts, how I can change the world. I decided to grow my hair. Because I wanted to change my world. I wanted to become radical.
Amen,
But I grew put my head up, you know who I look like?
John Lennon? Jesus?
Yes, I look like Jesus.
Jesus.
I look like God.
A new age Jesus.
A new age Jesus. And people be shocked. They don't like my appearance. They're shocked. Peter, cut your hair. You look like I got the hillbilly. You look radical. I am radical. I am a hippie. A hippie is radical. Radical thinking.
Yes.
So I did this in my way to change the world. I feel good about how I look like.
Man, I'm jealous.
I shock people. Jesus shocked people.
Yep. Thank you.
So this is my contribution.
As it turns out, Peter was Jesus. Time, continue.
My name is Christy, and my husband and I came to Celebration when we were at the Forestry Center, and a good friend had told me about the community and about Barry and suggested that I come, and I walked in late because we have kids and we could barely get ourselves there, let alone our kids there.
You blame it on the kids.
It's always the issue.
Well, our middle son was like 3 at the time, so it was a challenge getting out the door. And when I walked in, and I heard your voice, and whatever you were saying about the meditation, I almost started weeping because I felt like you were just talking directly to me. But I've grown so much and evolved so much, and I've had so many miracles happen in my life since coming to this community. And I am excited about manifesting more together. And I'm all about vision. I'm not about
Yes,
all about
that's what she
vision. Let's do this!
Christy changed the way we see. For real. With the help of the Visionary Mastermind Group, she created a type of contact lens that would allow you to see into someone's soul. Time, continue.
So, I mentioned that I'm prepared to step my game up and to do whatever I can to make a greater contribution to this movement. And one of the ways that I really see myself doing that is with my new skills in marketing, in digital marketing. I'm currently studying at PSU, and I'll be graduating soon with a BA in digital marketing. And in fact, right now, I'm in a class. It's the pinnacle of all the marketing classes offered in my program. And what this project is for us to develop a marketing plan. And this marketing plan has to be 40 pages minimum. We have to research every point that we make in the document. So 40 pages, research technology, the entire term. That's all I'm going to be doing for this class for the entire term. So I'm listening to my teacher telling me this, and I'm like, geez, that sounds like a lot. And she says, but it's a team project, so you don't have to do it alone. I'm like, oh, good, team project. One of the guys that I spent a little bit extra time talking with, he got to be team captain number 1. And guess who his first choice was? It was me. And then he goes about and he handpicks 2 of the other most talented and capable marketing students in the entire marketing program to join our squad. And our 4 initials happen to be KLANS, so our team name is Class Marketing, right? Yeah. Yeah, and so then we sit down in these groups, and then the professor's like, okay, so we're done with academic stuff. You've been learning all this academic stuff. We're going to apply this to real life now. So you're not only going to do this marketing plan minimum with research, with the latest, greatest technology, using the web and everything that you can, but you're going to seek out one organization who you will be able to work intimately with, so that you can gather all the information that you would need to develop this marketing plan. And the other criteria of selecting an organization is not only working intimately with them, but they have to be able to benefit greatly from such a document. So she announces this to the class, and I'm thinking to myself, I think I might know an organization like that. Somebody who could benefit from a 40-page marketing plan and who could actually put it to use, and who I would be able to get as much information on the organization as I wanted. And so I thought, wouldn't it be cool if not only am I able to develop this marketing plan for this celebration, but if I get 3 of the other top marketing students in all of PSU to also focus their time and energy over the next 10 weeks to do this, to take the visionary's vision and really begin to understand how we can take this message to the web, create viral videos, and create peace and transformation across the planet. Woo! So guess what? Did they buy it? Yeah. They bought it. So what does that mean? That means 10 weeks from now, I'm going to be able to walk up to you with this fat document. It's going to have an A+ written on the front of it. And I will be able to hand it to Barry or anybody else in this community, and we will be able to use that document to take Coexist Celebration to the next level.
We were sitting around, and Linda actually said, I think we should have a different name that represents sort of the production side of what we're doing. And I kind of went, that's kind of a good idea. So it was her idea. So we're actually going to brainstorm on that right now.
Yeah. So what name can we create that will be not only memorable, but also will have mass appeal? But I'm going to take all this information back to class marketing, and they're going to be a third party, unbiased, and they're going to analyze this and say, this one has the greatest mass appeal and some of the most.
So I just want to point out how awesome it is that he has this group that we can run things off of. It's amazing.
Yeah.
40-page document on marketing, and everything we do, we can go to these young people who are working on this and run it by them. It's pretty cool. So I'll try to stand my half, you stand your half.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I already passed. Okay. Ready, set, go.
Amore.
Global.
Light. Wasn't LAPHD.
Life.
Radical vision.
Radical vision.
Like viral vision, or I don't have, maybe
Viral
viral and
vision.
vision one word, I don't know.
Let's go, viral vision.
Luminous.
Productions.
Productions.
I'm going to put one in, the chrysalis.
Chrysalis.
Yoda reality.
Yoda reality.
The red pill.
The red pill. Okay. What's the most bizarre, hilarious thing you can think of right now?
Boom like that.
Purple monkeys.
Purple monkeys. What was yours?
Boom like that.
Boom like that. Why not? Why not media?
Why not?
Brought to you by all of us.
Free radicals.
Free radicals.
Free radicals, I love that.
Vision A. Vision A.
Vision A.
Can you read from that?
Beyond belief.
Beyond belief.
Be that change.
Viral satellite.
Be the change, viral satellites.
Netcasters.
Netcasters,
Oh, that. Oh,
The Crazy Starfish Man.
Brought to you by the Crazy Starfish Man.
For the Crazy Starfish people. Vibrant virals.
Vibrant virals.
Earthquacks.
Earth wax.
Yeah, we're gonna wax on Earth.
Remember again.
Remember again.
I'll remember you right again. Remember? That didn't work out so well.
It could be the 100th monkey.
The 100th, what did we say before?
I said 100 monkeys, and this time I'm saying the 100th.
The 100th monkey.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Brought to you by the 100th monkey.
Yeah.
the tipping point group.
The tipping point group.
The tipping point.
The tipping point group.
Extraterrestrial.
Extraterrestrial.
Extraordinary.
So I think this is a testimonial to how powerful of a group we can be. I think we just created dozens of awesome, very viable names. And we'll take this list and I'll bring it to my group and we'll go from there and we'll eventually pin down the award winning.
Yeah, I thought maybe his group could bring back like 3 or something.
Yeah.
And then we could vote or, just grab, finalize one. So, awesome.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Lennon. Thank you, Lennon. So, everybody's listening to a specific radio station, WIFM. Has anybody heard of this radio station?
I don't know. What's in it for me?
What's in it for me? And we're all listening to it to a certain degree or another. And I hope that all of us in this room are listening to this station maybe from a higher vibration than most people, but there's a sense to which we're all listening to what's in it for me. And I think that we've covered that in a lot of different ways, but I sort of wanted to go over that and add some things to it. So the first thing, what's in it for me, to be a part of this is the Coexist celebrations, the local activity of doing those celebrations and doing more of those celebrations and doing like movie nights and different things I want to create. So this is one thing that's in it for you. This group, the visionaries, what you will be doing will be supporting this as much as anything else. So what's in it for me is the celebrations. And some people think these are some of the best services in the world. So number 2 is you get a mastermind group that supports you in living an exceptional, extraordinary life. You get a group that comes together with regularity and keeps us in the thriving zone, keeps us living the very best life we have to live. And right now, I'm just asking everybody to think about what's this worth to you? What's this worth to you? Then, the creation of a legacy. We're going to do something that's never been done before. What we're talking about tonight, nobody's done it. And the potential to really help create tipping point, to really help change consciousness in this giant web that is so powerful. And using it in a way that Lennon and I are both so tuned into this and know how to do it. So the creation of a legacy, both by working with local and by creating viral videos that lift consciousness. What's the value of that? And then regular social events, because we'll have social events for the visionaries that we'll do not only just the once a month, but different things that I want to just do as a group, whether it be going to a movie together and discussing the movie or different events. We'll just be, we're going to be tight. We're going to get to know each other really well and hopefully grow. And then I want to create an annual retreat to connect with our soul, with each other, to go deeper. And when I say a retreat, we can talk about where this would be, but once a year at least we would go on a trip together. So it could be anything from the Oregon coast, to the gorge, to Hawaii, to Peru, to Greece, to Assisi, wherever. And my gift in creating this retreat would be, so right now I pay a lot of money to do these kind of things. Like I did one recently that paid me $8,000 to put together a 4-day retreat. I'll give this to you. So I'll put together this trip for no cost. I'll create it. You'll have to pay to get there and that stuff. But I'll do my part, I'll do for free. That's what I'd like to do. in this retreat, we would decide where we want to go, but I see it being a really cool event. And I think it'd be awesome as the visionaries grow and as different churches create visionaries and as people click on the web and become visionaries, it's, this huge event that people go to, and it can be a really awesome thing. So that's another thing that what's in it for me, a retreat, an awesome experience, a trip, with a group of people who are. So what would it be worth? What is this worth to us? What is this worth to you to receive this? Well, normally this would go for $499. But wait, there's more. It comes with a bean suit. And but for the cheap going rate right now, we're doing it for $399. But tonight and tonight only, I'm offering you this one-time chance to receive all of this. Imagine all of this for whatever stretches you. Whatever stretches you and puts you, makes you feel like you're in the thriving zone, that you're stretching, that you're pushing, that you're doing something, that feels like, okay, this is good, I'm feeling good about this, and it's stretching me, but I know it's doing very good. That's what I'm asking. And when I crunch the numbers, there's about 30 people very interested in being in the visionary group. And when I crunch those numbers that I went over, this would pay for the celebrations, okay? Because so far these have been gifts for me, by the way. I haven't really made money doing these, okay? So it's been a gift, and I put a lot of money into remodeling that room, and one time we made enough that I actually made some money, and the rest of the time we broke even once, and the rest of the time we lost money. So I've just been doing it as a gift. But what we would get from what we could raise is really covering the bases here, doing this, working on the videos, because again, I can do these for pennies on the dollar. We can create powerful stuff for pennies on the dollar, and the retreat and everything. So when I crunch the numbers for what I hope to create, if 30 people did this, it came out to an average of 167 hours, which is about 1.5 lattes per day, to really, really get this off the ground.
Which isn't much for all of this. It really isn't. However, don't forget, it's tax deductible. It's tax deductible, so it's really only half. It's half because at the end of the year, the government's going to give you a check back for half the amount donated. The government's going to give you a thank you check for helping transform the world and bring peace, and by the way, change the government. But don't tell them we're doing that. They might not like that. But you're going to get half that back because it's tax deductible. So it comes down to about $83.50 a month. The price of about half a latte per day. For all of this to really have an impact on the world, locally and globally. To have a huge impact on ourselves and to create this trip and to create this group. It's really pretty good. So that's something to think about. Now for some of you, that might be very easy for you to do, and to be in that thriving zone would be more. For some of you, that might be difficult, it might be breaking for you. I know for Lennon, he's a student and all that stuff. It's way too much that he can afford. So I wanted to throw that number out. That would be a number, if 30 people did that, that would really still be working for very little, but I'm willing to do that and grow this from there. So it's something to consider. So it's just something to think about. And what I'm going to do is get in contact with you soon. And I'm just going to say, okay, where are you at with this? You've had some time to think about it. Let's see, do we want to do this? Do we want to do this? Because for me, at this time in my life, you all know I got a divorce, and my life is changing dramatically. And I really have to be careful in ways that I really have to be careful with what I do with my time. Got to make sure that, and I have opportunities. But this is where my heart is. This is what I'd love to do, but I do need to get support. I do need to feel like this is a smart thing for me to do financially, or else I can do something else. But I'd love to do it, and I hope that you are excited about it. But it's kind of in your hands. So I'm going to be in touch with everybody that's here, and I'm just going to say where you're at. You've had some days to think about it, and basically I'll be able to tally that up and see where we're at financially, see what more I might need to do, contact some more people. Maybe you know some people who might want to get involved to help grow that support. Yep. So finally, to close, and I am, if you haven't already noticed, I am getting over a cold, so my voice isn't fully there. This one really challenges my voice.
But it's another song that I've sung a million times. Not a million, but probably 100. And it's another visionary song that I absolutely love. And again, I sang this song in India a couple of times. I've sung it all over the world. And again, it's a song that every time I've sung, I knew that it was powerful to sing and I know it helped people, but I also always thought, what am I really doing about it? So maybe this could be what we're doing. There's a full moon over India, and God he lives again. Who's to say you have to lose for someone else to win? In the eyes of all the people, the love is much the same. For the first is just the last one. When you play a deadly game, it's about time we realize it. We're all in this together. It's about time we find out. It's all of us or none. It's about time we recognize it. The changes in the weather. It's about time. It's about changes and it's about time. There's a light in the Vatican window for all the world to see. And the voice cries in the wilderness. Sometimes he speaks for me. I suppose I love him most of all when he kneels to kiss the land. With his lips upon our mother's breast, he makes his strongest stand. It's about time we start to see it. The earth is our only home. It's about time we start to face it. We can't make it here all alone. It's about time we start to listen to the changes in the weather. It's about time. It's about changes and it's about time. There's a man who is my brother. I just don't know his name. But I know his home and his family, because I know we feel the same. And it hurts me when he's hungry and when his children cry. I too am a father. That little one is mine. It's about time we begin it to turn the world around. It's about time we start to make it the dream we've always known. It's about time we start to live it. The family of man. It's about time. It's about changes and it's about time. It's about peace and it's about plenty and it's about time. It's about you and me together. And it's about time. It's about time. And it's about time.
But here's the challenge, my friends. You see, there's been a disturbance in the timeline. One of you was considering being a visionary. It was a likely choice in the quantum field of possibilities. But in one of my alternate universes, you did not. And now, my very existence, and even humanity's existence, 2,000 years in the future, is in your hands. Time continues.
And so I do believe that it's about you and me together. And in my humble opinion, for me at least, it is about time. I don't want to sing these songs anymore and not be doing something more about it. And there is that classic line in Imagine, We've all heard it and sung it 100 times. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will be as one. So this is an opportunity to not just imagine it, to not just hold a vision, but to join us, to join a group of visionaries who are gonna do something about it. So I hope you will join us, and I hope that day is today. Namaste.